acting like UKIP normally acts in this chamber, so please.
Kopieren Sie sie nicht, Herr Verrat. Ich will Ihnen allerdings eins sagen. Ihre Äußerung,
however, I would say
dass
one
die
thing to
Kollegen hier in
you.
diesem Hause niemals einen ordentlichen Job gemacht
The
hätten, die
fact
müssen
that
nicht von
you're
sich auf andere
claiming
schließen. Das
nobody
geht
has
so
done
nicht.
a decent job in their life, you can't really say that. I'm sorry.
No, you're quite right, Mr. Schulz. UKIP used to protest against the establishment, and now the establishment protests against UKIP. So something has happened here. Let us listen to some simple, pragmatic economics. We, between us, between your countries and my country, we do an enormous amount of business in goods and services. That trade is mutually beneficial to both of us. That trade matters. If you were to decide to cut off your noses, to spite your faces, and to reject any idea of a sensible trade deal, the consequences would be far worse for you than it would be for us. And even no deal is better for the United Kingdom than the current rotten deal that we've got. But if we were to move to a position where tariffs were reintroduced on products like motor cars, then hundreds of thousands of German workers would risk losing their jobs. So why don't we just be pragmatic, sensible, grown up, realistic, and let's cut between us a sensible tariff-free deal, and thereafter recognise that the United Kingdom will be your friend, that we will trade with you, we will cooperate with you, we will be your best friends in the world. But do that, do it sensibly, and allow us to go off and pursue our global ambitions and future. Thank you.
My tone. You heard the other night at debate. They asked Ted Cruz, serious question, well, what do you think of waterboarding? Is it okay? And honestly, I thought he'd say absolutely, and he didn't. He said, well, it's, you know, he's concerned about the answer because some people, she just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's a pussy. That's terrible. Terrible. Really great to be with you again. We love it. Governor Cuomo, our great senators. Hi, Chuck. He used to love me when I was a Democrat, you know. That they had her on tape, all of a sudden that story changed.
No, that's not true. She says her story has remained exactly the same. She was knocked a little bit off.
Can I read this to you then?
Yeah, that she was knocked off balance, but she remained standing.
Do you mind if I read you her statement? I mean, give me a break. You know, the problem is everybody dumps people when there's like a sign of political incorrectness. I'm just going to read, if I can find it.
She said she was almost knocked off balance, but
she said she was almost knocked off balance. Right, here's what she said. You want to read it, or you want me to do it? You're a professional announcer. Why don't you read it? The bottom part. The bottom. Now, that's an exact quote from her prior to seeing the cameras, and now she says, oh, I better change my story, I guess.
This quote says, I was jolted backwards. Someone had grabbed me tightly by the arm and yanked me down. I almost fell to the ground, but was able to maintain my balance nonetheless. I was shaken. Campaign managers aren't supposed to try to forcefully throw reporters to the ground. She did not go down the ground.
No, let me just, okay, before she knows, folks, look, I'm a loyal person. I'm going to be loyal to the country. I'm going to be loyal to Wisconsin. We have to tell it like it is. It would be so easy for me to terminate this man, ruin his life, ruin his family. He's got 4 beautiful children in New Hampshire, ruin his whole everything, and say you're fired, okay? I fired many people, especially in The Apprentice. But look what she says, Michelle Fields, who, by the way, she's not a baby, okay? In her own words, exactly, I was jolted backwards. Well, she wasn't. I mean, she's standing there. Someone had grabbed me tightly by the arm, and yanked me down. She wasn't yanked down. She was like, she didn't even have any expression. If somebody in this audience gets whacked or gets hurt, including me, you get hit a little bit, you go, wow, there's no emotion. Okay, wait a minute. I almost fell to the ground. I almost fell to the ground. She didn't almost fall to the ground. He got in her way. And by the way, she was grabbing me. Am I supposed to press charges against her? Oh, my arm is hurting.
You've suggested you might.
Anderson, my arm is just killing me. It's never been the same.
You've suggested you might.
Excuse me. I didn't suggest.
Well, yeah, you did.
I tweeted. No, I tweeted.
A tweet is a suggestion.
Should I press charges?
Are you going to?
Sure. I don't know. Maybe I should, right? Because you know what? She was grabbing me. When they put Marco on to refute President Obama's speech, do you remember that catastrophe? And he's like this, and we were,